Welcome to Deep Cuff Channel. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky declared victory. Advance of the Ukrainian army continues. While the sounds of violent explosions came from all over Ukraine, Russia was shaken by a great event in its own soil. Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared in front of the cameras. He was extremely nervous. Bakhmut region remains the center point of the war. Russia launched a new counterattack in Bakhmut. Russian Air Force increased its activities. Air strike alert has been issued across Ukraine. Putin's catastrophe could spell the end of Russia. Poland takes a new step against Russian aggression in Eastern Europe. Turkey-Ukraine relations are developing. Ukrainian army managed to destroy 620 soldiers, 16 armored combat vehicles, 5 tanks, 3 artillery systems, and 8 special military vehicles in operations against Russian troops. Main reason for these losses of Russia was explained as Ukrainian missile and artillery units. In the meantime, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces announced that the Ukrainian missile and artillery units are under intense fire in 15 settlements in 3 regions where Russian troops are concentrated, and in a total of 7 regions where ammunition and command centers are located. In addition, according to the head of the military administration of Luhansk Oblast, Serhiy Haidai, the Ukrainian army struck 4 Russian-controlled command centers in Luhansk Oblast. These command centers were the main centers used by the Russians to command the Bakhmut attack. Russia, which suffered serious losses in these attacks, tried to act quickly to respond. Accordingly, Russia attempted 90 attacks using artillery systems, in addition to 5 missile attacks and 1 airstrike, especially targeting the Kherson region. Main target of the Russian army in these attacks was the infrastructure facilities of the Ukrainian army. Intensification of attacks, especially on the Lyman, Bakhmut and Avdiivka fronts, shows the war strategy of the Russian army. In the meantime, it was reported that the sounds of big explosions came from the city of Kursk, which is located within the administrative borders of Russia. Local media sources operating in the region reported that the explosions that started at night continued until the morning hours. We do not have more detailed information at the moment, but our research continues. As explosions continue in the Kursk region, the Russian army took action to take a critical step in eastern Ukraine. According to the latest news from the region, Russia, with the support of the Wagner Group, began to encircle the Bakhmut region from the southwest. According to analysis and maps published by military experts, the Ukrainian army is fighting in eastern Bakhmut, while Russia is trying to enter the region from the southwest. Currently, it is stated that air defense alarms are active in the region. Probability of the Russian Air Force operating in the region is extremely high. It was known that the soldiers of the Wagner Group carried out intense activities in this region. Now the Ukrainian army is in direct conflict with these soldiers. As a matter of fact, after Russia's siege of the region, the leader of the Luhansk region, Serhiy Haidai, said that the Russian army lost thousands of soldiers in clashes near Bakhmut. Parallel to Haidai's statements, Russian bloggers acknowledged that Ukrainian forces in the Bakhmut region managed to slow the pace of Russian advance around Bakhmut and surrounding settlements, while Ukrainian forces claimed that they had pushed back elements of the Wagner Group to positions they had held days ago. Ukrainian social media sources had previously claimed that Ukrainian forces had completely driven Russian forces out of the eastern outskirts of Bakhmut around December 21st. Institute for War Studies, an independent U.S. think tank, also declared, based on information from the region, that it was absolutely impossible for the Russian army to advance in the Bakhmut area. In order to seize the Bakhmut region, Putin built a serious military buildup in this region. Wanting to use this buildup, Putin thought that after capturing the key city of Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine, he could more easily reach other parts of Ukraine. But the main thing that Putin did not take into account is the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian army. This war turned into a real disaster for the Russian army. But no matter what, Putin wants to go all the way. Russian President Vladimir Putin, who stated that he followed a negotiating and peaceful attitude in the statements he made in the past days, actually says all these for his own interests. Crises experienced by the Russian army and the broken command system make it easier for the Ukrainian army to achieve victory. Because Putin knows this, he wants to bring the Ukrainian side to the negotiating table and buy time for his army to recover. In this context, Russian President Vladimir Putin said in an interview published on Sunday that Russia is ready to negotiate with all parties involved in the war in Ukraine, but Kiev and its Western supporters refuse to participate in the negotiations. Contrary to what Putin said, CIA Director William Burns said that although most conflicts end in negotiations, the CH's assessment is that Russia is not yet serious about any real negotiations to end the war. An advisor to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said Putin should return to reality and accept that it is Russia that does not want any negotiations. If Russia had taken a serious stance on negotiation and peace, we should have seen that the situation at the front had already begun to change. Just the other day, Russia announced that it has started to work on obtaining missiles from North Korea and Iran again. We also know that the number of drones purchased from Iran will increase. In addition, the increase in the number of cargo planes flying between China and Russia is the biggest proof of the Russian army's preparation. In this context, Turkey has long played a critical role in the war in Russia and Ukraine. While Turkey wants peace, it also defends Ukraine's territorial integrity. In addition, the unmanned aerial vehicles they delivered to the Ukrainian army play an important role in changing the course of the war. In this context, Baykar and Rocketsan tested the TRG-230 Turkish supersonic missile this week. Test was carried out on a Kink, one of Bayraktar's newest unmanned aerial vehicles. Developer of the TRG-230 is the Turkish company Rocketsan. Maximum launch range of the missile is 150 km. This ammunition will enable Bayraktar, a unmanned aerial vehicle, to hit enemy targets without entering the enemy's air defense area. In this context, Turkish unmanned aerial vehicles offer Ukrainian machinery manufacturers the opportunity to establish a reliable military technical partnership with Turkey, promote their engines internationally, receive new orders, and partially compensate for the loss in the Russian market. It is already known that Ukraine wants to establish a drone factory on its territory. Russia is trying to take military and political steps to prevent this. As a matter of fact, some Eastern European countries started to take very drastic measures against the possibility of Russia increasing its aggression in the region. Polish Air Force Command announced that it has been decided to dispatch 22 warplanes of the National Air Force to the borders of Russia. Fighters were transferred to Malbork Air Base, about 60 kilometers from the Russian border, and this move was made purely against Russian aggression in the region. It was reported that a total of 22 MiG-29 warplanes were deployed to the region. Previously, there was the possibility of delivering these aircraft to the Ukrainian Air Force. However, at the point we have reached, we see that this possibility no longer exists. We will continue to monitor the world and especially Ukraine. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.